Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamer Dad channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. So before I continue, just wanted to say thank you to everyone who is participating in the Gamer Dad channel. Those of you who are division agents or even agents that don't play the division that continue to ensure that this channel is what it is. I really do appreciate you guys so much. Today's topic is going to be a little bit controversial in a sense, or a lot of controversial. And this is about the allegations of cheating so far in the Division Dark Zone PvP. Even in some cases, I have seen some allegations about cheating in Conflict. Now, this is very interesting. On PC, we are certain that there are cheaters. I am certain of that because people use all kinds of different hacks, wall hacks, all kinds of different weird stuff that you've seen if you've been playing on PC. It's there. But more importantly, I also want to go ahead and emphasize a little bit more about the allegations of cheating on consoles, especially PlayStation. Now, some of you in the community have been the ones informing me of this. My PlayStation character has not necessarily gotten as much playtime as my PC character, so even in my experience, I wouldn't even know what cheating looks like on PlayStation just because I haven't experienced too much of the PvP in the Dark Zone or whatever it is. But there are some comments so far, and even in some cases, arguments that have shown that some people use all kinds of different hacks, all kinds of different, I don't even know what to call them, scripts that allow for them to be able to use mouse and keyboard on console. Now, this is a very interesting aspect because, one thing about the Division's PvP is the design in itself, in a sense, is some of you have described it as straight up toxic. And these are PvP players, by the way. Some of you PvP players have said, well, the way the Dark Zone and, the PvP has been designed is designed to be somewhat controversial, somewhat dramatic in a sense. And so this breeds toxicity. So it's very easy for players in some sense to fall into the aspect of cheating in the game. I'm no fan of it. I don't care whatever the reason is, or whatever the excuse is. Cheating in a video game is just straight up scummy. And here's the truth. In almost every video game, especially where there's a competitive side, there usually lies the ability, or even the people that will come in to cheat to give themselves an extra advantage of some kind. Like I tell you guys all the time, I play Mortal Kombat 11, and even as that game is a fighting game where you play short bouts and short matches, when you're online, there are people who try to do shenanigans. Those of you who've played fighting games or even soccer games or, any kind of sport games, about lag switches. You know about people who try to do those things to be able to give themselves the extra benefit, in terms of playing the game. I've played a lot of lag switchers before because one thing about fighting games are there's a little objectivity in most, scenarios in terms of the game. The game is designed on a lot of mathematical concepts like frame data, like, moves that are punishable, like distance, footsies, just a whole bunch of different things that are set in stone. So when some things don't work right, like if you do a move and someone's not supposed to be able to punish that move, and then they punish the move, or if your move does not connect and the person is constantly winning because a long stretch of time, the internet supposedly is being weird when you're trying to play, but when they're trying to play, the internet works, then you know that they're lag switching in that case. In the case of the Division, nonetheless, it's not necessarily that. It's actually people that are talking about some people using all kinds of different aimbots and even different scripts to be able to get this done. Now, I bring this topic up not to say, well, cheating is, needs to be, removed from the Division 2 or whatever. It does. For the, most part, the developers have to find ways to be able to minimize this incident, but they need to start thinking about the Division Heartland. You see, if Heartland is going to have whatever, PvP or PvE experience Heartland is supposed to have, the developers need to ensure that the game does not succumb to cheaters ruining everything, because that's what usually happens. Cheaters not only affect the game experience for other players, they end up causing this domino effect where eventually the game becomes unplayable for people who want to come in and enjoy the game, and it ruins the game. And not only that, the Division has had a very weird, in my opinion anyways, reputation with cheating, even in PvE. Remember the first Division game, by the time a lot of people got to endgame, they were basically cheating Falcon Lost because the game was broken anyways. People will find ways to, go ahead and go to the back of the APC and destroy it and all of that stuff. And so with all of that in mind, the team at Red Storm have to consider this very carefully as to how they intend on mitigating cheating. And another thing too is Ubisoft Massive needs to be very clear, on their definition, and also Ubisoft Red Storm as to what they consider, people cheating in a game. If many of you can remember, when we had the Warlords of New York glitch, the developers went ahead and took a very heavy-handed approach to, suspend accounts and to even roll back accounts for a development mistake that they made. That was on them, yet they went ahead and did that, to basically, I would say, they took a punitive measure that, in my opinion, felt super harsh, especially for a mistake that they made, while there are people that are actually cheating that those measures have not necessarily been taken against, if you get what I mean. So there's no objectivity. I'm not saying they shouldn't have taken any measures for, anyone who may have used a damage glitch. I'm just saying that if they were going to take measures for those people, then what happened to the other people who are actually currently cheating, in some cases have been reported, are being reported, and nothing is being done about it. So it's not a matter of saying, okay, oh, well, there are not enough people or there are not enough resources to deal with this. That is just not a reason to allow for that to go. It's one thing if I would say, okay, you know what, Ubisoft Massive is trying to, get content for us, and they're trying to actually, take their time to work on the content, and they can't get it out because there are not enough people. That's one thing. But to say that there are not enough people to deal with the cheating in the game, that's a whole different thing. And I just don't think that that is a worthwhile excuse to use. Instead, they need to actually focus on this. Now, yes, we get it. The Division is on the back burner. We've basically had to take the brunt of it in terms of this, especially in my opinion on PC, where I've seen this, happen. But I strongly believe that if they're going to be going forward, they need to tighten up their game and they need to tighten up their engine. And we get it. There's going to be a whole bunch of different, things that people will actually bring into the game and try to actually use to subvert the game's current, existence in terms of how the game works and try to give themselves an extra advantage. But I think if Ubisoft Massive would just take the time to continue to address these things early on in the game, then it's really going to deter a lot of people. If they really go heavy-handed to people who they know are cheating and they have deliberate proof, then that's also a very good way for them to be able to go and start that off. Now, these may not take effect until maybe another Division game, like I said, with Heartland, but I think it's something that they really need to put in mind. In fact, they need to dedicate a team that actually is working on this. Now, here's another side of the story. It may not be that some people are cheating. Some people probably get reported falsely. They probably falsely get, their footage taken and sent to Massive because somebody may not necessarily be excited or happy about how their performance has been in in an encounter. Somebody gets salty, somebody else melted you in a dark zone, and they're like, oh, this person must be cheating, when they don't necessarily understand the strafe mechanics that are actually right now, in a sense, somewhat the meta in the Division PvP. If you strafe, you can basically dodge all kinds of damage coming your way, especially on PC. It's insane. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but the camera movement on PC is very different compared to, say, your console, and especially with the Division, which has a very much slower movement speed than the Division 1. The camera, on the other hand, with the mouse, can actually help to compensate for that in a sense. On console, yes, you can kind of strafe some, but it's a little harder because of the way you turn. Things are not necessarily as smooth. But again, this is something that, we have to also make sure that people are not abusing the reporting system because they think somebody may be cheating and they're not. So again, this goes down to Ubisoft Massive themselves doing work to be able to, understand how these, parameters go. Because with the scripts, I think what they can do is, within their game, they can basically write code that identifies and recognizes these scripts and automatically basically report that user data to them. It may not sound as simple as I'm, mentioning it, but it's something that they ought to at least try. There are games that take the measures to, deal with cheating in their own, games. Even though there still will be cheaters, they still go ahead and do it nonetheless and do it diligently. So at Ubisoft Massive's stage in this whole development and game publishing process, I don't think they can actually get away with that excuse of saying, oh, well, there'll always be cheaters and whatever it is. And I'm sure it pains the developers. I have to say this. I'm sure the developers are also upset because the game that they've made for people to enjoy, other people are coming in to destroy the experience. So I guess these are basically my thoughts on this particular subject. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I know this is a big deal, especially now that the game has just a handful compared to its original player base left that are constantly playing the game. I mean, I think we ought to have the very best experience that we can, especially now that there are not a lot of people playing. It should be easy to deal with these issues, shouldn't it? Talk to you guys in another video. Thanks so much for watching and listening. I appreciate you guys so much, and we'll talk soon. Peace out.